Welcome back to the Currents podcast. My name is Paul Rice, and today we're joined by Chris Simmonds here off of Colley Avenue at the Less Than Zero Waste and Refill Shop. Chris, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for joining us. For those folks who've never been to Less Than, can you tell us what it is and where we're at?
Yeah, so Less Than is a zero waste and refill shop. We're located off of Shirley Ave in Ghent, and we help people produce less waste. And we do so by curating retail products that are packaged sustainably. Nothing's in plastic since plastic doesn't go away. We also operate a refill station where guests can come in and purchase goods by the ounce, things that they would normally buy in plastic jugs. They can bring their own containers or use one of ours, and we also collect containers from our guests and make those available for others.
Wow, that's awesome. That is a really unique concept and not one that I've personally seen before. Was there something that you saw that inspired you to do this, or a cause that you really wanted to try to affect with that?
Yeah, so I kind of grew up that way. Being from the Virgin Islands, we don't have the same accessibility to things, and so we tend to be mindful about what we acquire and reuse everything possible. And so as I've gotten older over the years and became more independent and started living on my own, I found it difficult to kind of follow that path. And with a lot of people started shopping online and to get some of the products that I wanted, but they would arrive with plastic packaging. And so Less Than kind of started that way online with the intent to offer sustainable goods packaged and shipped sustainably. And shortly after launching the website and getting a feel for how people interacted with the concept, it kind of became understood that most people are still buying their essential goods in person, and so the shift was made to kind of find a brick and mortar and make this available for everyone else.
Yeah. And do you think with a lot of these brands that maybe folks are new to, not their normal ones they've grown up with in the big grocery stores, that it's important for the retail experience for them to kind of interact and see it and feel and see the quality too?
Exactly. So some of the brands our guests are familiar with from TikTok videos and what social media has done for the industry. But for the vast majority of people, a lot of these products are brand new to them, the brands and the concept of the product and the packaging. And so there's a huge learning curve, and we work with our team members to provide support in the form of education. And so when guests come in, we kind of walk them through what they may be looking for, what they may be planning on picking up in the future, to see what might be a good fit for them, but also learning the product and how to care for it.
What are some of those new and interesting products that folks might not be familiar with if they've never been to a shop like this?
So one of the things that people usually stop and talk about is reusable air swabs. And so I think most people are accustomed to just using a Q-tip and tossing it. And we offer reusable swabs that are made from bamboo and silicone. And so with those, you would rinse it and dry it so that you can have it again to reuse. I think that's one of the ones that stand out for a lot of people. Another is just the packaging itself. So we have toothpaste that's available in tablet form where you chew the toothpaste and brush like you normally would, and it turns it into toothpaste, or even toothpaste in aluminum packaging that you would clean out and recycle afterwards.
Oh, wow. So most of the things here seem to be kind of in the personal care niche. Was there a reason that you chose personal care as a niche for some of the products here?
Yeah, so it kind of started there, and over the years we've grown our product categories. So we have things for pets, babies, oral care, hair care, personal care, skin care, cleaning, obviously the refill station. We've recently moved into cosmetics and most recently into gifts that are packaged sustainably. And so we try to encompass the what you would find around your home.
Cool. And so it seems like it must be pretty popular. You've grown to now 7 stores since 2020, is that right?
Yeah, so we have 7 locations now, 4 full-size locations like this, and we have smaller retail outlets within the Painted Tree, and we've just ventured into North Carolina. So we are in the Hampton Roads, Richmond, and now North Carolina.
Wow, that's awesome. So what has the journey been like to get here and kind of starting from day one?
Yeah, so it's been it's been a rough road. And so, like I said before, we started online. And when I realized that I wanted to make this available for people to see in person, we started building out a mobile shop. And it was a large camper that you could walk into and shop. And the idea was that we would attend farmers markets or pop-ups or whoever would have us for guests to be able to see these things in person. And as soon as we finished the camper and the lettering on it, the orders came down from the governor that meetings outside of essential events were canceled. And so I had a large camper and all this product and really nowhere to show it. And so I just happened to be walking down the street one day and saw this space available and reached out to the landlord. And because of it and what was happening, there was already that was just sitting. And so to make this happen, and zero waste shops and refill stations, there's hardly a blueprint for starting in the middle of a pandemic. And so a lot of what we've done is just been learning as we go along. We try to onboard team members that contribute in a way to help the company grow, so that we're not bringing on people that we're telling them what to do, but they're sharing with us what they think. And so all of that kind of comes together into a learning process that just evolves over the years. And so it's been a tough road, but I think it was necessary for us to get to where we're at and to be able to scale the way we did by bootstrapping and being very intentional about everything.
And did you go out of your way to choose something in the Colley Avenue corridor or greater Ghent area, or was this kind of happenstance?
So I'm familiar with the Ghent area from back in the day, and love the area, love the support. I love the idea of shopping locally, being able to either take a short drive or to just walk right outside of your home and get your needs met where you live. All of those things align with my values. And so when walking around the neighborhood and I saw this space, I was like, this is it. Like, this is why this happened. And so it felt really like a sign to move forward.
And so it's been going on 4 years now, right? How's the community response been so far?
It's been amazing. I think with any small business, you kind of open up shop and you share your ideas with the community, and you hope that they get it and you hope that they are enthused by it. And it's been nothing short of that. And I think our growth today is reflective of our guests coming to see us and then sharing us with their friends. And so I've never been in an industry where I've been thanked more for being where I'm at. And so it feels really good to, hear from guests that they appreciate what we've done and what we've brought to the neighborhood, and thanking us essentially for being there and jumping out there, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah, that's really interesting to hear so much gratitude for what you guys are doing. What do you think is it that's resonating so much with folks that they feel that way?
I think that Lesson is really a vehicle for a person to live their values. I spoke to earlier about being able to walk outside of your home and get your needs met, or getting your needs met with a short drive, but essentially voting with your dollars. So when our guests come in, they are mindful about what it is that they're bringing into their home. They're mindful about what it is that they're putting on their body, which eventually goes into your body. They're mindful about how products are sourced, the impact that they have on the environment around them, what they're leaving behind. And so with every purchase, they're essentially voting with their dollars and saying, this is how I want to live my life. This is what I envision for myself. And this is what I want to support, to encourage, so that more shops like this can open up. And so it's just really been a treat. And it's almost been like just overwhelming with the response that we've gotten.
Yeah, that's incredible. Do you think that's something maybe particular to this community here, or like a pent-up demand for these kinds of products that isn't being met across the country or the state?
Yeah, so I think Ghent has just been the perfect home for Less Than. Our other locations are also nestled into communities where there's mixed use. We're near campuses where each semester we have new students coming in with their ideas about what they want for the future, and I think that plays into what we're doing. But I think it's been kind of a perfect storm of things happening. When we first opened during COVID, we were faced with everything being packaged in single-use plastics. If you wanted to eat, if you wanted something to deliver, even if you were shopping and it was packaged for you, it was packaged in plastic and sealed. And so during that time, I think a lot of people just because of what was going on in the world around us, backslid on what they want for themselves and how they want to live their lives. And so when we opened up, it was really a way for them to push back and say, you know what, I can come here and get things in paper, or I can get my everyday goods in paper. And so Lesson has really been a way for them to find a balance between how they're living their lives and where they want to be in the future.
That's awesome. And so you've fairly recently also added a new kind of pop-up within your stores around non-alcoholic spirits. When did that idea come to you, and how did you decide to add that to your offering?
Yeah, so we launched Ceremony a little over a year ago. The idea has been in mind for a long time. The thought about starting all over again with all new spaces was a little bit daunting, especially with the scale that we were growing at. And so rather than waiting for a time for things to settle and make that happen independent of Less Than, I felt we were keeping the concept from the community longer than it needed to be. And so we kind of carved out space within all of our locations to launch Ceremony. And so Ceremony is our non-alcohol bottle shop. We curate non-alcohol beer, wine, spirits, bitters, mixers, mocktails, and functional drinks. And for us, Ceremony is essentially an extension of Less Than in the sense that people are coming in and being very intentional about what they're consuming, what they're purchasing, also filling that void in the neighborhood for products that weren't here previously, and really helping people to live the lifestyle they want to live by being able to consume elevated drinks that don't contain alcohol.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know, both brands you have here include a lot of products that are from smaller companies. Have you had any issues with their supply chains when they maybe aren't the Procter and Gamble that have massive supply chains and kind of infinite inventory for a shop of your size? Have any issues come up of like getting the products that you need to sell here?
Yeah, so those are ongoing things, especially with the pandemic. There was a lot of logistic issues for a while. Anything that was not considered medical essentials were being prioritized under. And so the issues with the ports that we all went through. And so getting some product here and getting some brands here were challenging. We work with small businesses whenever possible. So some of the lines that we carry are made in the Hampton Roads or in Newport News. And so those are a little bit easier for us to just connect with them and get that needs met. But yeah, we've definitely had some logistical issues with getting product here. Luckily, I think we're at a point where we're past that now. And we are at a size now where we're able to kind of use our scale and our influence to kind of shape things that we run into that we don't like. So if we do bring on a brand and we don't like the way that the product was shipped to us with plastic packaging, we'll reach out to them and say, hey, this is how we need it moving forward. And we've been able to affect change that way, which I think is one of the bigger obstacles in this industry, is affecting change on the manufacturing and logistics side of things. So we can all subscribe to this concept here as much as we want to, but if change doesn't happen above this, then it's really hard to see change globally. And so we've been able to do that. And we've also been able to do that in terms of the products that we carry as well. So anything that comes in that I'm questioning, or samples that I receive that I question, we talk to them about sending it off for testing, and we've received testing results and things like that. So there's a lot of things that happen on the back end too, which makes it easier for us as well as emerging brands that want to carry sustainable products.
And some of those products are products that you're making either here in-house or at some of your other locations across the state and now North Carolina. Can you tell us more about what it's like making your products and what type of products you're making?
Yeah, so we do some small things within the shop, like our bath salt blends. We do some production out of our Richmond location. One of our team members there is phenomenal with formulating, and so we make some of our liquid goods there. We have production in Virginia Beach for some of the things that need a more controlled environment and specialty equipment. And then for our refill station, we have bulk liquids that we contract a co-packer out of Montana. And so we have relationships there. So like I said, whenever possible, we work with local makers. We have a line of products that are sewn locally, and we just contract the seamstress out of Norfolk, actually. And so we're able to kind of get our needs met locally as well. And what I really like about that is that it kind of promotes a hyper economy where we're shopping local, so that when you shop local, you're shopping hyper local.
Yeah.
And that kind of keeps the money circulating within the community, and that's how you build community.
Yeah, that's incredible. It sounds like your team is wearing so many different hats, with some folks producing while other folks are managing retail, and there's a lot of inventory, I'm sure. What is the management process like for you for managing so many folks across different cities with different hats?
So it's challenging, but we've gotten into a really good groove. And so what we've done is we've trained all of our team members to be managers themselves, to have a sense of ownership over the space when they're occupying the space. And they have the autonomy to act in the same way that I would, and to make sure that whatever comes up in the course of a day, that they can handle it. And so when your team is empowered and they have the tools and resources they need to take care of anything that might come up during the day, it really minimizes what trickles up for me. And so I can really spend my time focus in on what are we going to do next quarter, or what are we going to do moving forward, how are we going to reinvent something, how are we going to bring price points down to be more affordable, how are we going to push back against inflation. And so I have the ability to focus on those types of problems while our team members are handling anything that might come up in our storefronts.
Yeah, that's awesome. And maybe a great segue there. You mentioned next quarter and next year. What's on your vision board, in a sense, for the coming quarters and years?
Yeah, so I think something that we're spending a lot of time on now is figuring out how we can go from Ceremony being a dry bottle shop to a non-alcohol bar. We get a lot of people that come in and ask about tastings and things like that, and we have a lot of moving parts, and there are some regulations when it comes to serving on site and how much you can get away with, and if something can be charged or not. And we try to not get on the bad side of the city.
Yeah.
So we've been working on some outreach projects where we're reaching out to businesses in the community, even here in Norfolk, and seeing if they have a need on site for catering to their guests that visit them that don't consume alcohol. And so we've had some meetings, and we have some lined up, and hopefully we'll find a community partner that shares the vision that we do for having a more inclusive drinking environment. And if we work that angle and it doesn't materialize, then we'll be looking at moving into that space ourselves, and creating a space where people can come and enjoy Ceremony on premise.
Awesome. You mentioned some of the regulations that go into consumption of goods. Do you guys fall under ABC regulations? I know some products are likely very small amount alcohol instead of fully non-alcoholic.
Yeah, so our products, so non-alcohol is described as 0.5% alcohol or less. And so that's where our range is 0.5% or less. And so these things are not regulated by ABC. So this is the same amount or less alcohol than you might find in bread or ripe fruit, kombucha, yogurt, things like that, or even mouthwash and vanilla extract and things like that. So the amount of alcohol that is present, if it is present, is something that would be metabolized quickly. You would never feel anything from it.
And is there anything that folks who are really bought into your mission here can do to support you? Is it just coming in and buying, or anything else that they could do to help make sure you guys are successful?
Yeah, so several things. I mean, one, we would always love for someone to come in and visit us and see what we have to offer. Take a mental note of what you might be running out of at home, so you can consider us in the future. But I think even beyond a visit, I would say just raising awareness. So all of our resources, anything that we make, is just poured back into the business so that we can remain here and combat some of the things that are going on in the economy now. And that really makes it so that we cannot compete on an advertising plane with larger establishments and big box stores. Yeah. So when guests come in and take a picture and share that to social media, or if they share us with a friend that they think might be interested in what we're carrying, that really makes the difference. And so, even for guests that are not close to us, we have an online store. Guests can shop anywhere from around the country. We do local delivery. We offer local delivery from Virginia Beach to Midlothian. And chances are we're able to bring these products to you or get these products to you. But when guests share what their experience has been, or leave a review or post to social media, it really makes the difference, and it really gives us an opportunity to compete with the larger big box stores.
Awesome. Well, Chris, thanks for joining us today. We appreciate it, and looking forward to helping you make sure there's less plastic out in the world.
Appreciate it. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here, Chris.